A succulent, satisfying, a heartwarming dish in the late winter. This is my version of Hakka-style stuffed tofu. Hi guys, welcome to Wok Wednesday. I'm Lance from School of Wok, London's premium Asian cooking school in Covent Garden. Today we're making Hakka-style stuffed tofu with pork mince, Hakka tofu. So first thing we're doing, we've got some medium firm tofu here. So we are gonna cut these into blocks before we stuff the filling in it. So first cut half it from the middle. Cut this into like this. Each piece should be around this big. The reason why we use these medium firm tofu instead of silken tofu, because the silken tofu, they just break very easily. You are not able to stuff any filling in it if you're using silken tofu. And compared to the firm tofu, we're using the medium one because they're softer. So you got different textures compared to your filling. So that's why we're using medium firm tofu today. So in this water, we're gonna add in some salt. So what the salt does is you season the tofu a tiny bit with a bit of saltiness. And also the salt water kind of takes out the grassiness of the tofu. And also, very importantly, a bit of salt will make your tofu slightly firmer and less easy to break it. Okay, so we're gonna leave that aside, just leave it for about 20-30 minutes while we're prepping all the other ingredients in this dish. So here we have some shiitake mushrooms soaked in water overnight. Also, we have some dry squid here, which I got from Chinatown. They always come dry, they're always in the fridge or freezer. So what you wanna do is just soak them in cold water or warm water, ideally overnight, so you can really soften them. As you can see, they come quite hard. And the reason why we're using this, because we want to add a bit of seafoody flavor to the filling. So after you soak it, just make sure you take this bit out, okay? And also, for the water that you use to soak them, don't throw that away. We're gonna use it for the sauce later. So slice your squid first. You want to spin the slices around and just dice them. Just be careful, they are quite spongy. So in Hakka cuisine, we use a lot of dry shrimps, dry squid, this dry seafood, because Hakka people, they usually live in kind of mountainous area. It's not close to the coast. They don't have very easy access to the seafood. So they always buy them from the coastal area and just dry them so it can keep longer and you have the nice seafood flavor on your table as well. And just do the same thing for your shiitake. Okay, I'm gonna give this a bit of further chopping, or in School of Wok, the technical term, choppy. These just put aside. So now we're gonna start mincing this pork belly. So make sure you find the fat ones. I fought for this from Ian's hands. Slice it first. And around. Okay, the reason why I'm mincing these by hand instead of buying ready-made pork mince from the shop, because I find it when I do it this way, I have better texture of the pork mince and also keeps the juice in the meats better. Now we're gonna start mincing. So you chop it one way and then you fold them together and start chopping it from the other way. For this, you just has to be loud. So when you live in my area of China, you just don't need your alarm clock in the morning. Every morning, 9 o'clock, you just waken by this. So this technique is actually taught by my grandma, because in my family, we don't always trust the people in the markets. My grandma always thinks the machine they have, the mincing machine, is really dirty. And also she finds it juicier, more delicious this way. If you don't trust me, at least you trust my grandma. She's been cooking for 50 years. Come on. So now we've got our pork mince. As you can see, it's really fine and it's nicely stick together. Now we're gonna put it in a bowl. We're gonna mix it with the other ingredients later. So now we're gonna chop the aromatics. We've got some spring onions today. So the spring onions, we're gonna divide them into two parts. The stem bits, we're gonna finely chop them. The leaf bits, we're gonna cut the unhappy part off and just chop them into rings. Finally chop the stem goes with my mushroom and squid. We're gonna fry them later. So coriander, cut into chunks. Easily. Now we're frying the shiitake mushroom, dry squid, and the spring onion stems. Okay, heat up your frying pan, oil in. And all these go in. The reason why we're frying this first, because later, after we stuff the filling into the tofu, only a tiny bit of the filling in each piece will be fried. We really want that mushroom and squid flavor to be infused in the whole dish. So that's why we're frying them. And also you are taking out a bit of moisture from the mushroom and from the soaked dry squid. So after 2 or 3 minutes, after you smell the really nice fragrance, we're gonna take them back out and add them straight into the pork mince we made earlier. Now we're gonna season it. Pinch of salt. And you need quite generous amount of your white pepper and then a bit of light soy. Bit of oyster. And now just get your hands in, okay? So firstly, you want them very well mixed, and then I'm gonna start smashing it in the bowl. The reason why we do this, we want them to be really sticky. We want all the filling to stuck together. So after we stuff it in the tofu, after we pan fry them, it won't fall apart, it won't come out from the tofu. Okay, so after like 20 times of smashing, now we're gonna leave it there and wash your hands, or maybe your face as well. Okay, after soak your tofu in the salty water for about 20 minutes, we're gonna drain them and make sure rinse them before you stuff any filling in to rinse off those salty water on the surface. So for the stuffing, what you only need is a pair of chopsticks. So first thing, grab a piece of tofu, open a hole. Don't worry about sticking it through all the way. And you grab a piece of mince, start stuffing. Be gentle. Around this much. You want to flatten it on the top. So what I'm doing is actually like I'm using my thumb to pin the meat into tofu. So we're doing it this way instead of take a piece of tofu out. It's because if you do it this way, you don't waste any tofu, and also you can make sure the filling is well planted inside the tofu. So now we're gonna start pan frying your stuffed tofu. Get a non-stick frying pan, oil in. Make sure you have enough to cover the base. Be generous. So we're gonna pan fry the meaty side first and then flip them over. So that the fats, the flavor in the meat can actually go into the sauce we're gonna add in later. I always start, when I'm pan frying something like dumplings or stuffed tofu, I always start putting them from the side to the center, because the center will be the hottest. So always just make sure they are cooked evenly. So we're gonna cook the meaty sides for about 3-4 minutes until it's golden brown, and then we'll flip it over. So you can constantly checking on the bottom of the tofu. So once it's golden brown, nicely golden brown, we're gonna flip it over. For the other side, you want to cook just about the same amount of time for 3-4 minutes. You want to get that nice golden brown tofu. So once the bottom part of the tofu is golden brown, we're going to add in some sauce. Just some light soy. Some oyster. And the water that you use to soak the mushroom and the squid. And don't forget your white pepper. Just adds a bit of flavor. So just enough to cover the base of your pan, and then we're gonna put the lid on. I'm turning it down to a medium. Okay, so after about 4 or 5 minutes, we're gonna take off the lid and start thickening the sauce with our slurry. So here we've got some corn flour mixed with water. And while you're thickening the sauce, you want it gently boiling. And you add it in a bit by bit. Shake it a little bit. So we're gonna thicken this until the sauce can be nicely coating onto the tofu, and then we're gonna serve. So we're just pouring the sauce over these tofu. Make sure each piece of tofu gets a bit of sauce. And to finish, just garnish with some spring onions we chopped and the coriander. And there you have Hakka-style stuffed tofu. So the Hakka language way to say it's Hakka tofu. Give that a try. Guys, I'm gonna tuck in. Just really satisfying, really heartwarming. That just made me feel homesick. Oh my god. If you like this recipe, if you want to see more, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I will see you next time. Bye.